Hello my lovelies and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Abida and I am a travel content creator based in London, UK, but obviously traveling around the world. You guys have caught me on a wash day today. I'm not on my long extensions, but this is the best time to just kind of have a raw and honest conversation. I asked you guys to give me any questions you had, just to start the year off, kind of reintroduce myself, and letting you guys know what's up. And you guys sent a couple of questions, so we're gonna get into it now. If you see me looking down, it's because I wrote some notes because I want to make sure that I give really comprehensive answers, but I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to read my notes. First question, what do you do for work? So I live quite an unconventional life in that I make money through sharing my travel memories online. So I am formerly a social media content creator. This means that I do videography and photography to promote brands on the platforms that I've kind of managed to grow. In the travel space, these brands will typically be like tourism boards or like hotels or travel related kind of products, and I'm paid to do so. I'm paid to promote them on my platforms. Even if you see only like one hashtag ad on my page a month, that alone will pay me at least 4 figures. I sometimes do what we call UGC, which is user generated content for brands, which means that I create content for them to use on their kind of marketing platforms. And I'm also monetized on YouTube and TikTok, which means I do make some commission from kind of the recommendations and the content I put out there. I also make a little bit of money from selling a solo travel ebook, which I really recommend. I've been solo traveling for years and I just feel like everything I've learned from my experiences I had to download into one place that's easy to read and digest, and so that's my solo travel ebook. It hasn't always been that way. I actually only became a full-time travel content creator last year, August. Before then I had a 9-to-5, like I was working a corporate job in the public sector. What's your favorite place to travel to and why? I really struggle to answer this question, but I will probably at this point say Jordan. I just really love Jordan because I feel like you can't get bored in that country. It's such a vibrant country and there's so many like unique things to do there on a daily basis. So you can float on the lowest part of the earth, the Dead Sea. You can go to Petra, which is one of the wonders of the world. You can go to the Red Sea and scuba dive and see some really cool things on the water. There's just so much history. Jordanian people are like really open. The falafel is chef's kiss, so I do recommend. Have you encountered any bed bugs? Ew. And no. I mean, beyond kind of read and review before you book any place to stay on your travels, there's not much you can do to prevent getting or experiencing bed bugs. But thankfully, I haven't. What is your trip planning process? When I'm about to plan a trip, usually I will review the budget I have and the time I have to travel. I always tell people, travel within your means. After I figured out the budget I have to travel with, the time I have to travel with, I look at my bucket list. It's really great to have a bucket list at any point in time of places you would love to travel to, so that when you do get the opportunity, you kind of focus on that subset list. And then I'll look at the list and I'll be like, where on this list matches my budget and matches the time I have. So there could be places on the list where I'm like, I need 10 days to do this place properly, but I only have 5 days to travel with, so I can't do that, but I can do another place. Then I draft the trip. When I say draft the trip, I basically draft my itinerary. So I look at flights on the dates that I'm looking to travel on. I look at hotels available, and then I look at activities I could do. And I usually kind of do like a light search on Google to see what I can do in that area or that place, in that destination. The reason why I do this without booking is because I could look at flights and then realize that the activities I want to do, I need to fly to a different airport. But if I already booked the flight before looking at activities, then I've made a mistake, you know what I mean? Well, I could book an accommodation because it looks really cute, but if I've not thought about my flights, I could be booking wrong dates and I have to change my flights because maybe the initial dates I have, the flights flying out are way too expensive for me. So basically it's really important to like almost plan your trip and look at the different pieces, so like flights, accommodation, things to do before booking any one of them, so you can make sure it all fits together. And then I book my flights. I usually look for deals via Skyscanner. I book my hotels. I usually look for deals via booking.com or Airbnb is an option as well. And then I research activities. So usually I read blogs on Pinterest. So I just search a destination on Pinterest and a ton of blogs will come up. Or I just search on TikTok and Instagram things to do in X destination. Research all the recommendations that come up and I plan my trip likewise. There's some activities that it might be easier to do through like a tour or a guide. So I'll go use certain websites like Virtuo, get a guide to book those tours. And then close to the trip, I'll look on gov.com. Gov.com is a UK, our national website that gives us kind of foreign advice around like visas and like health requirements when we're going to certain countries. I also think Skyscanner, and there's another website called Join Sherpa that no matter where you are in the world, it takes your passport and decides kind of like what visa requirements you need to travel to X place, what vaccinations you need to travel to X place, and then you just do that and make sure you get insurance before you travel. Sometimes I don't, but I really should be. What's your main tips for those who want to start solo traveling? Number one, buy my solo travel ebook. No, but seriously though, I feel like whenever people ask me this question, I can give you tips, I can never give you everything because I don't have hours and hours of time to kind of talk on the topic. So I do feel like my ebook is really a great place to kind of see all the kind of advice and tips I have in one place. So it is worth buying. But just a couple of tips for the video, I will say start small. Don't go too far. I once read a story about a guy who started road tripping Europe from England, and he must have gotten to like halfway through France or something, and he chickened out. He was like, I just can't do this anymore, I can't do this. But at least he was close to home. Like traveling from France to England is a short flight away, whilst imagine going all the way to like I don't know, Japan or Australia. Like if you chicken out or you're like, I just can't do this, you've gone really far. It's really hard to go back home. So I think also starting small and like not going too far, like doing day trips or road trips within your own country even, allows you to feel like home is near, like not feel too freaked out. I'd also say research a lot before your trip. Research, do your Googles, like read books, buy guidebooks on that destination, like do so much research because you feel more confident when you feel like you know what you're doing. If you feel like you don't know what you're doing, or if you're used to go on holiday with friends where like other people will take care of the details and you're just like along for the ride, you're gonna have a shock when you solo travel because you can't afford to do that. You have to be the one who knows all the details, who covers all the bookings, etc. Just make sure you do your research so that those feelings of nervousness that you naturally have will be a little bit reduced. And finally, know yourself. Know yourself. I think the key to having a successful solo trip is one where you don't feel too lonely and one where you don't feel too bored. And I think there are a lot of people who don't know themselves enough to know what they enjoy. And so they spend a lot of their life following other people's preferences and interests. So when it's time for them to book their own holiday, they're booking a holiday that really does not align with like who they are and the person they are. So for example, if you are into cars, booking a holiday in summer to go watch the F1 in Monaco makes so much sense. Or booking a trip to London to visit the Transport Museum makes so much sense because that's your interest. However, if you were to book a trip to an island in Indonesia, for example, where no cars are allowed, and you can't find anything to enjoy, then you're not going to enjoy that trip. And it wasn't because it was a solo trip, it was because essentially you didn't know yourself enough to kind of book that trip that really is for you. One of the benefits of solo traveling is being able to do what you want to do. So if you don't book a solo trip that does that, then you're going to assume that solo travel is not for you, but it's just because you didn't know yourself enough. So know yourself enough. Some people, they like traveling to sunny places. Grey weather is just not them. Other people, hiking is where they feel their best. So book a trip to a place where there's like a ton of hiking opportunities. Like make sure that's key. Otherwise, the more bored you are, the more lonely you feel, and it just won't be great. So take some time to yourself, think about what you really want to do. If you didn't really care about what anyone else thought, what would you do? And go for it and try different things. What other solo destinations do you want to explore more? I want to do more solo trips outside of Europe. I follow my own advice. So a lot of my solo trips are in Europe just because it's close to home, it's close to England, it's a short flight away. But I've never done, for example, like Latin America. And I think there's been a barrier for me, not just because it's far away from where I live, but also because I don't speak Spanish. I never did Spanish in school. Like I did French all the way through school. I don't speak Portuguese. Like if I was going to Brazil, I don't speak Portuguese. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge, and I'm actually hoping to start with Central America and do like a month trip to Mexico some point this year or next, God willing. So watch your space. I also want to explore more bucket list places that people typically wait to do. So trips that people would wait for their honeymoon to do, for example, I want to do now. I kind of want to break the stereotype of like, you can only do this if you're in a relationship or if you're blah blah blah. So people that are single who may have the means to go shouldn't go. Like, no, why not? Tips for a trip to Egypt. I would recommend getting a tour guide. Egypt, especially Cairo, can be like very chaotic in a good way, but to be honest, can be quite chaotic. And so piecing things together, not feeling overwhelmed is super important to enjoying your trip there, and having a good guide will really help. When I first went to Egypt, I had a guide called Sam. Oh, he's amazing. I've actually sent so many people to Sam, and people have come back to me and said, oh my days, I had an amazing trip to Egypt because of Sam. So I really recommend him. Also, go on Pinterest and just look at the itineraries that other people have done to Egypt and try and maybe imitate that. And finally, if you're looking for a more chill trip, you don't want to be in the buzz of like the city like Cairo, then maybe book a Nile cruise or package holiday to the Red Sea, where a lot of the planning is done for you for the trip. Tips for a solo trip to Rome. Ooh, avoid accommodation that's right by the main station in Rome. I'm just saying it's very much a target for pickpockets, so be careful when it comes to pickpockets. Make sure you carry multiple cards on you. I see people say they went to Italy or like Rome and like they had their wallet stolen from them, and like if all your bank cards are in that wallet, you're traveling solo, how are you gonna afford anything, girl? So have Apple Pay or Google Pay if you have Android. Have maybe one bank card in your suitcase, another bank card in your actual wallet. Like keep money in different places so that God forbid if you ever get pickpocketed, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Don't forget to cross the bridge and cross the river. So I feel like the Colosseum and that area, there's a lot of touristy things to do. So a lot of people don't go to the other side of Rome where you find like the Vatican, and also there's such a really cool neighborhood called, I think it's Trevester, right here. And it's just super colorful and super hip, and you can do a lot of like shopping there, some really cool boutique shops. And I got some really nice spaghetti and pasta there, so definitely recommend. When will you do a Europe group trip? I can't lie, doing a group trip to Europe, it's not really on my radar, just because it does feel quite easy to plan a trip to Europe. Like the infrastructure is there. If you're traveling on a budget, there's so many kind of like backpacking routes or budget airlines to use, etc. And usually when I'm thinking of doing a group trip, I want to do group trips to places where it's quite far away for most of my Western audience, and to places that they might hesitate to go alone. So they're willing to pay for help in terms of like an itinerary that's set for them, you know, guidance on navigating a new place, and also traveling with the community. On that note, if you are watching this and it's before April 2024, make sure to sign up to my Philippines group trip. It's gonna be an amazing group trip. Philippines is a place where you have to do island hopping, and sometimes the logistics of organizing the island hopping, surfing, scuba diving, and all the amazing things to see can be quite overwhelming. And so I'm hosting a 12-day trip where all of that is kind of taken care of for you, and we're gonna have an amazing guide, and I'm doing this with a company that is insured and trusted and protected, so I'm not gonna run away with your money. So definitely come along, and if you're a solo traveler, this is perfect for you, because I feel like my community is such an awesome community. In the past, when I've done group trips, the people that come, I'm like, I'm so happy to cultivate a community of people like this, like people who are just like down to earth, lovely people, open to making friends. Like this is good vibes. I'm happy I'm sharing the good vibes with people, and that attracts other people that have good vibes. So please come along. How do you use tripods in crowds? I don't. I very much shoot in non-busy areas. So if I am having to shoot content in a place that's kind of busy, if I go to a destination where I want to shoot in this really iconic place but there's a lot of people, I would either hire a photographer. You can do this through Airbnb experiences, or you can search for photographers on Instagram, or for just a cute pic, like I'll just take a selfie or ask another tourist. Tips on becoming a travel content creator. So I have a whole video sharing the BTS of my life as a content creator. I'll link it up here or here. And I've kind of said this previously, but I don't really want the focus of my page to be about content creation, like how to be a content creator, how to be an influencer. I just think there are better educators out there. There are people that have been doing this for way longer than I have, who are way more successful, and I think those are the people that you should be listening to and talk and kind of talking with and learning from. So I'm gonna link some of the people that I personally also follow here. That being said, I will briefly answer this question. If you do want to become a travel content creator, the first thing you need to tick is you need to be someone who loves travel. You need to be someone who really loves traveling, who prioritizes travel when it comes to their money, when it comes to their time, because you're gonna have a lot of experiences, then be able to document. And when I say document, I mean take videos of everything, your food, the activities you do, the hotels you stay at, and document that on social media, and do that in a consistent manner. So post every other day for a good couple of months, and make sure you're posting content that people will find valuable and educational, or at least funny and relatable. If you're posting content that's like the caption is like a quote and it just looks like you're boasting about your trip, no one's gonna want to stay around for that because they're not learning or getting anything from that. So make sure you think about how you post on your personal page. It's not how you post on a page that's for other people, because it's for your community, it's for other people, not for you. So that's how you become a travel content creator. Final question. Am I single? I feel like I get this question every year. I don't really mind answering it though. Yes, I am pretty single. Last year was pretty interesting for me. I was on the dating apps, but I actually quit the dating apps early last year. I have met people through dating apps, but usually like after the first date I'm like, no, like that's not gonna work. I think early last year I met a guy and I was like, okay, this guy is ticking every single box. Like it started really great and then it ended not too great, and I think it really affected me. When I look at last year, like January, February, I was barely posting on social media because I feel like the situation very much consumed me, and now I'm like, being a content creator is my full-time job, so I don't really want anyone in my life who takes away from what I'm building. I want someone who can come and complement my life and who supports what I do. So yeah, I feel like I'm looking for someone who like feels like home, because I spend most of my life putting my life out there, whether that be through traveling or through posting on social media. So someone who feels like a safe space, someone who feels like I can come back home to, is the kind of person I'm looking for. But without the dating apps, I'm just keeping myself open whilst living my best life and investing in the existing relationships I have right now. Like I realized that like because I travel so much, my friends can't keep like sometimes I don't know where I am in the world, and sometimes I can go like months without talking to some of my friends just because, you know, I'm all over the place. But this year I've committed myself to really like checking up on my friends when I'm back home, letting them know, creating spaces for us to come together. I don't have a lot of friends, but I feel like the friends I do have, they come from different stages of my life, so a lot of them don't know each other. So I want to do something where people come together, and yeah, I can create that community and also build my community online as well this year. So fingers crossed this year I'm more consistent with YouTube than I was in previous years. But make sure you also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye!